Hopefully.
Okay. Let's put us on full screen. Okay.
Hello,
Hopefully,
everybody.
it's a little better. Did you like that overlay? I have a thing of smoke that'll fucking rise up and
I love it.
change the screen and shit.
Cool.
All right. So hopefully now we're actually,
Streaming and
yeah, probably a little quiet because I'm not turned in that direction, but yeah,
have our favorite producer check for us.
we can. Well, I don't have it turned up. Check, check, check. Can anybody hear us? Check, check.
Check, check. Is the audio better? Can y'all actually hear us talking? Hopefully you can.
I really appreciate y'all putting up with us.
I do. I really do.
It's awesome.
Oh, yeah, I think we
Yes, but super quiet.
super quiet. Okay.
So I can change that. We'll put this kind of like that, and then we'll turn it up a bit. There we go.
Hey, how about now? We doing better?
There. Yo, Ashley,
Yo.
returning chatter. Hooray, hooray.
Hey,
Much better. Okay, good.
Cool,
Sounds
sounds
good.
good.
Awesome. Perfecto.
Perfecto. Yay!
All right. So, what I was saying before
Yep.
was last week, Oki saved you.
Yep.
By the time you woke up and kind of came to and started really remembering what the hell even happened, kind of the after effects of that teleportation magic or some shit, right? Um, yeah,
Yes, thank you,
you're
Ash.
welcome.
Thank you, Oki.
You come to and you hear a bunch of noise outside of the room, and then the hunters like talking to you like when you first wake up, and he looks down at you and he says, I don't understand what the damn wizards want with you. You were a failed experiment if there ever was one. What the hell did they even see in you? And that kind of like brings Gorthan back, in his head to when he was a kid. And like what's Gorthan's earliest memory?
I would say Gorthan's real earliest memory would be of him kind of interacting with the wizards for the first time and them kind of starting to teach him magic and really struggling.
So like when they try to teach him magic,
Yeah.
right? Um what what does that look like to those wizards exactly? Like what does
So
their magic look like?
so I imagine these wizards are trying to teach him fairly complicated incantations, fairly complicated hand movements,
Mm-hmm.
and he's trying his best to keep up with them, but it's just not something he's able to kind of comprehend.
Gotcha.
He's like I kind of said,
It's a core concept issue.
exactly. Gorthan's not an idiot. Like I kind of like to say, he understands like what a glass of water is, and that a cup is meant to hold water. But he couldn't like put together if we had to empty a trough that he could use the cup to empty the trough.
Gotcha. Okay. So the insight learning was yeah, because he's a poor little orphan boy, Ash
Yep.
says. Nice.
Yeah,
Just
poor
picking
little
on him.
orphan.
Just picking on him for being an orphan. Do I have a lighter in
I have
here?
one.
Awesome. Beautiful.
I always have a lighter, you know.
That's good. I probably should too. Well, I guess I don't know. I don't know if that's a probably should thing or just me, being OCD.
But yeah, I imagine Gorthan as when he in his younger years being very spry and happy and kind of thinking this would be really cool. Who wouldn't want to be a wizard?
Right. But also like they were they're like dicks at the same time, you know what I mean?
100% they were because he wasn't succeeding as quickly as they were hoping, and they didn't really have patience.
Yeah. So like they would you're a wizard, Harry.
Kind of.
Um they would like wake you up early in the like long before the sun would come up, and they would keep you studying until they were falling asleep. And because you were younger than them, you had a little bit more energy, but like they kind of worked you like a dog too, because they would have you cleaning and all of these other things that would
100%.
take away from your lessons also. So
It was at first I felt like they really tried to teach, and as he just couldn't do it, they definitely pushed him more into the servitude, more into, hey, cook us dinner. That's your fucking magic.
right. So then by the time you were maybe like 7 or 8 years old, you were, really just kind of like you were a servant. You were
Yeah,
like fucking Snow White, except big and blue and starting to grow a beard
pretty much.
by at a young age.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you grow up in this place and, it's pretty demanding, but it's also kind of demeaning. And then at a certain point, your what was the first thing that made Gorthan realize that maybe this wasn't the place for him?
One of the things they definitely had Gorthan do was help them capture people. So the wizards, like kind of established, did some experiments, and you need test subjects. And because Gorthan's size, it was easy for him just to go grab somebody for them. So that's one of the main things they had him doing. And he didn't really understand at first until one day he kind of like brought somebody in and kind of put him in the room and saw what the wizards were doing to them.
Maybe saw some of the bloodied instruments or
Exactly.
something that just finally keyed him into the fact that these were not good people.
The wizards were not actually treating him well, and he finally could like click into that.
So then, how long do you think it was after that where he found that book?
I would say he found that book fairly recently. So he's 30 in the our story. So I would probably say he found it maybe 6 months ago, maybe a year.
Okay.
So he's just been on the run ever since.
Gotcha. Just going from one little inn to another, trying to avoid capture.
Exactly, just trying to blend in, which is hard when you're a 7'4" blue thing.
Yeah, there's not many Goliaths in this world, so they're extremely rare, and most of them are from the north, from the far north, like the barbarian feral lands to the north by where it starts to get perpetually snowy.
And kind of like if anyone doesn't remember Gorthan's backstory, just kind of like a quick overview. Gorthan's parents were a human and a Goliath and a giant that were just kind of drifters, and they happened to be outside well, not Celestia, what was
I don't
this
know.
town?
I don't even remember if I named the other town, to be honest. I know, I believe I did, but I'll have to
Whatever
look
that
at
other
my
town
notes.
name is, just outside of that town, delivered him to the wizards, and the wizards were pretty much like, "Hey, if we teach a Goliath magic, that'd be fucking dope."
Yeah.
So that's what they tried to do, and eventually Gorthan couldn't couldn't. If I can talk, that'd be
You're
great.
good.
Eventually, Gorthan was able to get uh, get his magic kind of going, but they really weren't helpful. Eventually, one day he was cleaning out an old room, got his giant spell book, tried to show it to the wizards, like, "Look, I can finally learn." And they kind of passed him off because it's been fucking years and he hasn't learned anything. So
And that room was like these old relics of like magic items that had like lost their power and
exactly,
like things that they were studying that were just kind of like they didn't really have a use for them. They just were like drawing magical energy off of them in certain instances.
yeah.
And so like this book was just laying there gathering dust. And so you find it and you like flip it open and the pages are practically unintelligible, but for some reason you just know this language. He is always orange catting. His name is Wario, and he is the coolest little dude, the chillest little orange cat who ever chilled,
Mm,
which is quite amazing because he also has those like derp moments like an orange cat.
of
But
course.
yeah, no, he is definitely a very chill orange cat. Yeah.
Orange cats, they're very entertaining when they have the brain cell.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And he will like play with Boo sometimes and just be an absolute god awful dipshit, and it's the most fucking amazing thing because like Boo will be like running through the house and Wario will just all of a sudden out of nowhere try to like jump on top of him and Boo will like jump out of the way to the side, or like sometimes Wario will actually get him and then Boo will like jump up and fucking body slam him down and shit. It's fucking wild. Yeah, they're insane together, dude. They're absolutely fucking insane together. I think I bumped that cherry.
Oh. Yeah, that is basically what I imagine kind of Gorthan came from in his background. He's
Hell yeah, Amber.
yeah, our our lovely menagerie of animals.
Yep.
And technically a menagerie is when there's more animals than people.
There you go. So technically we have one too. All right. Great. Learned a new thing today. So yeah, so by the time you find this book, you've already kind of been like disenchanted or disenfranchised, I should say, with the whole like tower and all of its inhabitants, because there's probably like 25 to 30 wizards that inhabit this tower. It's a good size like little research place and all that. But yeah, so you find this book and you take it to these wizards who you've kind of like looked up to all your life, and like because I like to believe like that's the moment like when you open the book and you realize that like you can't read this language but at the same time you somehow know what it says.
Yeah.
Right. That's like the first time you teleport.
Yep.
Right. So like Gorthan even believes that like holy shit, this unlocks my magic.
100%.
Which it kind of did.
Yeah, definitely.
But
I imagine the teleportation kind of works. He kind of like stares everywhere he wants to go and kind of says, "I wish I was there," and he goes there.
And so to him, it is kind of a spell, an arcane spell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's something he does at this point because he's used it so much to avoid being captured and things. I imagine that it's
100%.
kind of just like
it's the only reason he's been able to escape for 6 months.
Yeah, so it's just a reflex at this point. And so you take this book out and you walk up to this wizard, like one of the more prominent ones in the guild. And
I imagine he's like currently poring over like a spell book and like trying to
there's like some
something
magical
out.
energy coming from his hand and he's like moving it around in the air and it's causing this like arcane circle to draw itself in front of him and things like that. And you walk up and you're like, what do you say?
Gorthan runs up with his book and is basically just like, look, I found a book. And I found the book that I can use.
And like he breaks his concentration and the thing fizzles in front of him and he just finally goes, I've told you 100 times to shut the hell up. And that's when Gorthan's just like,
yeah, Gorthan's done with his bullshit.
Yeah, this I imagine like this guy in particular is like he just happens to be the first one you find, but he's just a dick.
I imagine he's the one that was always telling him at first, like, you are a great wizard.
Right.
You really just have to unlock it.
And then after a while, he just started becoming like insulting and all that because he's like Gorthan is like his failed
his failed experiment
tutor or whatever, his failed mentee.
Yep, so Gorthan kind of walks up behind him because he's not paying attention, focused on his arcane stuff he's doing. And Gorthan raises his book and just kind of stares at him and screams, Gorthan will show you. Gorthan is the greatest wizard. I cast Decapitate! And takes his book and knocks the wizard's head off.
And the other, like, 6 people in the room just get fucking terrified. Like, they freeze in place. They don't know what to do. They've never seen this level of violence and power before. So, like, I imagine they feel like there's no way you could have done that with physical strength alone.
Yep.
There's no way. So, like, there's got to be some sort of magic behind it. Ash is saying, do a dab. All my stuff's out in the living room. We, like, rushed in here really fast to like try and get this going because for some reason the laptop out there just like was not doing it. And I haven't seen a single drop frame yet, so we're doing a lot better in the bedroom with a hard wire. So,
Yeah,
but
do what you
it's
can do.
kind of the way it is. Oh,
Come
Mama
on.
Coda, thank you. Hello.
Thank you, thank you. But yeah,
If you're watching and you haven't dropped a follow yet, we'd really appreciate it.
we're trying to get to that Twitch Prime subs. We can get that Bezos money.
Yeah, absolutely. We wanna fucking steal money from Bezos every day,
Yeah,
all
but
day, every day.
so I imagine after that, the six of them are just kind of looking at him. Gorthan kind of starts running down a hallway. Ash made me follow up. Good. Thank you.
Good.
Thank
Thank
you,
you for the
Ash.
follow.
Yeah, and thank you for the follow. Gorthan runs over and just kind of, as he's running out of the door, he sees a backpack that the wizards would always take. So he kind of grabs it as he gets out of like the little courtyard. The wizards are following him, and he kind of looks back and looks forward and goes, "I wish I was outside of those gates." And he disappears.
And it's the first time that the wizards have fucking seen you do any magic. And so now they're freaking out because, like, holy shit, he was right, and he just killed somebody. So yeah, then they tried to send some people after you, but they weren't able to catch up to you, and you were able to get away.
Yep, I just disappeared into the forest.
And then eventually,
So sorry, guys.
the lords of that kingdom hear about a deal being made between Reuben von Hildegard and a massive blue Goliath in wizard's robes. And so they sent their best hunter after you.
Lovely.
And when he was able to catch you, hello.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. We appreciate you being here for sure.
100% appreciate you guys.
Yep. All the Swifties, much love for sure.
Much love. Watch out for printed to order. I'm making something for all you Swifties. It is in the works. Just give me like 2 weeks.
Nice. Hell yeah. 2 weeks and Rob will be dropping new fucking merch. It's dope. Hell yeah. So we kind of then that brings us back to the present moment where this hunter's like yelling at you in this cage, right? And then you hear this ruckus outside the room, and he all of a sudden he's like, all right, I gotta go see what's going on out there. He walks out, you hear a bit more ruckus, hear some rustlings, sounds like people are fighting, and then you hear some noise that sounds like flames catching on something, and then Oki comes in and she's like, yo, we gotta go. And she has the key, she unlocks the cage, and you guys leave.
Awesome.
So when you walk out of that room, though, there's like bodies of a bunch of guards sitting out there, but the hunter is nowhere to be found. And when you ask Oki, she's just like, he got away. He teleported away.
Gorthan kind of looks at all the bodies and turns to Oki and kind of says, impressive.
Yep. And if you had seen the clip, like if this was like a TV show or whatever, that would be when it would like jump back and you'd see again that like Ash walks into, or Oki walks into the room, and then it just kind of like action. And then like next thing you know, there's like 6 bodies laying on the ground. So like even the audience doesn't get to see what happened. Love it. And so once you leave that place, you guys go back to Reuben and you report about the gold mine.
Yes. Gorthan's gold mine. I can see it now.
I'm sure Oki is super happy with that name. So, death by 1,000 bloods. I mean, what a way to go.
Oh.
So Reuben basically says to you, now that you've completed your half of the bargain, I believe that it's time for us to have a celebration. And the party that ensues is a fucking. I mean, it's a. Even brings Gorthan through the ropes. Like,
Hell yeah.
he knows how to drink and stuff because he didn't really have much else to do.
What else is he gonna do locked in a wizard tower?
Exactly. Smoke the devil weed and fucking drink the alcohol that they make. So you guys have a absolute raucous party that night. You wake up in the morning and you kind of have your free reign of the town.
Awesome.
Right? So if you have anything like, if you want to make connections, or if you want to like look around, if there's anything specific that you guys are thinking that you may need for your next adventure, Ash, feel free to chime in here if you want.
Yeah. Flying too high. Yeah, I never want to fly too high. Yeah. Let's say Gorthan kind of. Wow, what should Gorthan do? Gorthan, I'm gonna double check. I think he has a pretty good amount of money. Gorthan should probably go see if there's alchemist in town. We can get some decent potions.
Not a bad idea.
Oh yeah, I got 124 gold. Let's fucking go.
All right. Let me
put this amazing map on that he has of Selaznia.
I need to add screen capture. That one? No, it's the other one. There we go. Sweet. Cool. Now everybody can see the map of Selaznia. And what I can also do is I can modify this to show you building types.
Awesome.
And then we'll do that just to get the names of those off the screen because it's unnecessary.
Yeah. Yes, I think we're going to head over to an alchemist.
Guy who Ghibli offended doesn't know Gorthan. Who did Ghibli offend? What do you mean, Amber? I don't think I know what you're talking about.
Let's say
Remind me.
She might know our lore better than we do.
Right? I was gonna say. I smoke too much weed to remember things. Unfortunately.
We get a little high during these sometimes, as you all well know.
Yep. Yeah, we have a tendency to just like keep smoking too. So yeah.
That's fun. The guy who Ghibli. Oh yeah, remember when Ghibli, because Ghibli and them went to tried to buy potions earlier.
Oh yes.
And pissed them off.
Yes. So that would be...
Thank you, Amber.
Yes. That's going to be population, no, buildings, and then we'll look up... That's what it is, Quiet Alchemy. That's where you went.
Yep.
Is that where you went, or did you go to the other one? I think you're right. Because I think Quiet Alchemy was the one. Yes. Yeah. Quiet Alchemy was the other place. Because I remember Hakrin.
Yep. I remember Gunthal too.
Yep.
Gunthal?
Yep. I don't remember their voices, unfortunately, but oh well.
Oh.
Is that where you want to go back to, or are you going to try and find somewhere else?
I guess I wouldn't know whether or not they went there, so yeah, I'll go there.
Okay.
They don't know I'm affiliated.
So you enter this magical potion shop, and when you enter, you see that they are like, they're putting up glass containers over the shelves.
Okay. I kind of look at them and go, "What happened? Why are you covering up the product?"
Somebody stole from us.
Who will do that? Who's stupid enough to steal from the only one of the great vendors in this town?
Who knows? We have a lot of people that come through here. It could have been just about anybody. I mean, even your friend, because you're pretty famous in this town, right? Yeah, you'd say at this point.
Probably.
So like they'd say, even your friends were in here earlier, and wonder if they saw anything.
Who knows? That one guy, he kind of fucked off, so.
Okay.
I am interested to see what kind of potions you have. Maybe something not normal.
In what way?
I'm not sure what you have.
Well, Gunthal. She is kind of quiet and shouldn't be showing you all that, but oh well. So she's kind of quiet and she's kind of standing off to the side and she's like, well, I mean, there's, if you want to see our list, and she like hands you like a piece of paper that just has like a general list
Awesome.
of all of this stuff. This is all of the normal stuff that they sell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, and they don't sell anything. They don't sell anything uncommon, rare, or legendary.
I can't afford those anyway. So.
Yeah. So, but basic potions are there's some decent basic potions.
Yeah. So let me go pull up a list of basic potions real quick. I know, we're so prepared.
Always. People come here because we are the pinnacle of prepared. That is why they come to the joint committee.
Right?
We're the best of the best.
Oh. Hopefully we'll be back in our nice cool set within like the next week or two, guys.
Yeah, we're getting everything moved around and figured out how we want it. So
just kind of redesigning stuff a little bit. Ooh. Fire giant strength. That sounds dope.
Yeah, that's a little beyond
your
that's a
yeah. Yep.
So they have common potions.
There we go.
There you go. There's like 4 of them.
Cool. Potion of climbing, comprehension. Ooh, a potion of comprehension. That sounds like it'd be cool for Gorthan.
Comprehend languages for 1 hour.
It's definitely
is a clear concoction with bits of salt and soot.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take one of those. We'll take a potion of comprehension. So
okay, it's 50 gold if you want to just buy it outright.
Yeah, we'll just buy it outright.
Okay.
No need to haggle with this. So we're doing 50 gold. Remove.
And then they have some common healing potions, but you notice that like the shelf where the healing potions are seems to be like some missing from how many there could be up there.
How much for the healing potions?
They're 50 apiece also, she says.
I'll give you 25.
That's a bit less than what I'm really. If Hakram finds out that I only took 25, he'd be really mad.
Tell him you sold it to me. He will be most okay with it. I promise.
I don't think so. I think I'm gonna have to ask the 50. You hear somebody in the back. Here's somebody else.
What's going on back there?
Oh, just Hakram being Hakram.
I kind of like start to walk towards there.
She you notice that there's like it's like a bar, right? And it's like you would have to like lift the bar thing and it says employees only on it.
Is she watching me do this?
I mean, she's standing right in front of you.
Sitting right in front of me.
Yeah.
I start to kind of lift it up, like staring at her, just kind of like.
She like very quickly. What are you doing? That's for employees only. You can't go back there.
They're fighting back there or something. I must make
No,
sure they're
it's
okay.
they're just arguing. They're not fighting. They're just arguing.
What about?
I mean, that I don't know. I don't listen. I try not to listen. I just want to do my job and leave.
Fine. I guess this is all.
And he just kind of turns to walk away.
Make a perception check.
Just gonna use digital dice.
That's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Roll.
And if you actually click on your perception, it'll automatically like add it all and everything to, because you rolled like garbage.
Yeah, I did. So let's, because this is not a real one. Perception.
Yeah, see? There you go.
Well, that's still got.
I mean, not much better, but
Yeah,
8. So when you like turn, right, and you see like the curtain, whatever, you go to turn to leave, and Hakram comes out from the back room, and as he comes out, you see like a stock of potions sitting on a shelf in the back that are not displayed out in the general showroom.
I turn around and kind of go,
What are those?
I don't know. Probably just some backstock, or did you ask? Are you asking Gunthal or are you asking Hakram?
I'm asking Hakram.
Hakram is like, what are you talking about? I do not know what you're talking about, my friend.
I kind of storm over, flip the thing up, and push the curtain back and go.
Okay,
those.
you're gonna have to make like
Yeah.
an intimidation
Let's go.
check because there's like
Let's go.
people in the room.
12.
Do you have anything in intimidation?
Nope.
No. Wow. Gorthan's just not that intimidating. I mean, don't get me wrong. 12 is definitely plenty where Argosis and Lalan, who are also in the showroom, they both are just like, "That's not my fucking business," right? They're not going to stop you. And Hakram like goes to stop you, and like as you raise up the thing, just like not even paying attention to the sign or anything, he just kind of like goes to step back because he doesn't want to get hit by it, right? Which is enough time for you to like throw the curtain open. You point at the potions, right? On this window.
I asked for special potions, and you're holding out.
So you see Hakram like look around and like, because like there's only like 2 other customers in here, right? And one is a halfling, and then the other is a kitsune, which is like a fox person, right? And like Hakram looks at both of them and then looks over at Argosis and says, I think it's lunchtime. And Argosis just kind of nods at him and walks over to the other 2 patrons and politely says something to them each. And they just kind of look around a little bit and just kind of shrug and leave, right? And Argosis bars the door behind them, right?
Shit.
And Hakram says, well, I guess if you're going to be like that, my friend, just follow me. But if you let's say if you try anything in the back, things will get bad very quickly for you.
We will see.
And he walks you into the back. And in the back, you see this storeroom is probably twice as big as the showroom, right? There are 2 other people back here, and then there are 2 people kind of moving between this area and what seems to be like a stock room or a storeroom or whatever, right? And so those 5 people indicated there are kind of in this room with you, and you see, I mean, like, there's a lot of different potions. you're not an alchemist, so you don't really know what they do, but
Mhm.
if you want to, you could like try and roll to like identify some of them with
Yeah.
like arcana or um
How about
maybe perception.
perception? Let's do perception.
Okay. So you have no idea
I rolled a
what
nat 1.
any of these potions are. Okay. You have absolutely no idea what any of these potions are. Do you want to like?
I
So you see, like, first of all, you see like one potion looks like bottled fire,
mhm.
right? And then another potion is like this black, thick, heavy liquid. And then there's another one that's like it's like this rose hued um it's like a bubbly, looks like a carbonated
Okay.
almost, right?
Interesting.
um and then yeah, there's a few of them.
I kind of look at. I kind of just kind of say to the room,
I need a potion that will help me unlock magic.
I
that kind of thing. You can say that.
apologize, but I mean there are what do you mean unlocking magic exactly?
Gorthan, great wizard, but magic only works sometimes.
Oh, I mean, you're kind of, I hate to be like this, but you're kind of in the wrong place. Like, you may want to go seek help from, like, a cleric, or, I mean, there might be somebody that, and this is, so at this point, Magalf has walked over
Mm-hmm.
and like overheard the conversation. It's like, I actually know somebody at the temple who might be able to help you, but they generally require payment. But the other option might be there is so what um other than like a cleric, what do you think? Like, who would Gorthan seek out other than this person that's being recommended to you? Anybody?
I think.
Or
Well, Gorthan would try to probably seek out wizards, but he's a little terrified of seeking out another wizard because they're probably going to turn him into the tower that he was originally from.
okay. So find the right one here.
Maybe make a luck check, see if there's a wizard in town.
I'll go ahead and make a luck check anyway because I want to know what you might be able to just find.
Fuck, I cannot roll good today. 4.
Okay. So you go to this, you can't really find anybody that you think is going to help you as far as like unlocking more magic.
Mm-hmm.
You go to this cleric, right? You end up at this temple, and as you enter the temple, you hear a couple of people arguing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what they're arguing about is that they don't have the money to help their son to be able to walk again, right? And you overhear one of the clerics say, "Well, why don't you just go to uh, that kook Cyril and see if they can do anything?"
I guess we're going to see Cyril then.
So you like do you want to like go ask who this is?
I kind of just walk up and go,
Who is this Cyril you speak of?
And the cleric kind of looks up at you and he just goes, they make things, supposedly things that contain magic.
Why do you say supposedly?
Because I think it's things that I should not say. And he seems to clearly like be holding back his own personal beliefs.
Where would I find this Cyril?
And he gives you directions. Basically, it's back towards the keep.
okay.
So like you would be like right. You are right here, right? And you are directed right there.
Right.
Yeah.
I head over there.
When you walk in, you see a shop that seems to have been just turned over.
I kind of walk in, push the door open, and see that, and go,
Hello?
And then you see, I mean, there's definitely people
okay.
in there. Yeah, there's definitely people in there.
Okay. Is it like fully deserted? Or...
No, like it looks like it was like almost ransacked.
What
Right.
happened here?
You see people kind of cleaning up, and then one of the people stops to talk to you. This is a kind of nondescript dwarf, a younger person. And when you walk up to them, they're like picking up a shelf, right, and trying to like
I walk
set it
over,
up properly.
put one hand under it, and just push it all the way up for them.
And they just kind of like, whoa, oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate your help.
What happened here?
Cyril made something, and then you hear this other person, this paler skinned human, female, long braided orange hair, starting to gray, and she seems like really uncomfortable. Like this woman starts to kind of fidget when this person, this dwarf that you're speaking to, mentions their name. She finally stands up and says, yes, just send them my way. They're here to speak to me, I'm sure, anyway. And she seems just like annoyed, right? When you walk over to her, she seems like really focused on putting back together this little, it looks like, actually no, make a Arcana check.
Arcana. 19.
Beautiful. Okay, so you walk over and she's trying to piece together,
I guess 18 deck.
yeah, this thing, right? And you kind of look at it for a second and she seems like really focused on it, like even though she just like waved you over, she's still not paying attention to you. And you walk up and you go, and then, you know, Gorthan says, the wing goes in that joint, and then you take that and turn it this way, right? And she kind of stops and she does what you say, and then all of a sudden you see her kind of like smile, and she looks up at you and she goes, the one thing that they didn't try to steal. And she takes this key and puts it in the back of it, right? And it's a clockwork owl.
Cool.
Right? She turns the keys and all of a sudden this thing like lights up, right? Super fucking bright eyes pop open, And I'm trying to get ground control to fucking open again. It is open, isn't it? Right there. Never mind. What a bitch. I had to allow that. That's funny. So she like looks up at you and she's like, "What do you know about the arcane?"
A little bit. I grew up in with some wizards. I know some things. Those were everywhere. I mean, I watched the wizards mess with those constantly.
Yeah, they and she like, yeah, they're usually used for messages by the she kind of looks at you and looks you up and down and sees your robes and she goes, why are you here?"
None of your business.
"Oh, fair enough. And thank you for your help. What can I do for you?"
I am looking for help. The wizards always told me I was good with magic, but I could never unlock it. Recently, I've been able to. Watch.
And Gorthan kind of disappears from one end of the shop to the other.
And goes, see?
And she watches you do this and pulls like a thing from behind her back that seems to be like attached around her neck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a thing that's like for magnifying, like what you would think is like a jeweler's loom kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at it, it's got this like reddish pink hue to it. And she takes it and she kind of turns the the outside of the apparatus a little bit and like looks at you and then looks at where you were and then looks at you again, and she goes, "That's okay. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here." And she says, what do you want to know?"
I want to know how to unlock this magic more. I obviously have some. Can you teach me?
"Well, yeah, but that magic that you just did, that's from your parentage. That's..." She kind of looks you up and down and flips another one, and then flips another one, flips another one. She finally gets to one that's like this amber color, right? And she looks at you and she goes, "Yeah, half giant."
No, you're wrong.
"No, I'm not. You're a half giant."
Yes, but this magic comes from deep within. Trust me.
She seems just genuinely confused. She goes, "So you want to be able to teleport further?"
I kind of hold up my book.
I want to understand this.
"Oh, you okay. Well, I mean, I don't really do that kind of magic. I do this kind of magic." And she takes like a coin from her pocket, right? And she touches your book, right? If you allow her to.
I allow it.
She touches your book and you look down and all of a sudden your book like shimmers slightly, and then it looks all of a sudden like it's inlaid with gold and like it's just worth probably like it, before it was like kind of old and shabby
Yeah.
and maybe like the little torn
Absolutely.
on the cover or whatever. Now it's like pristine and looks like it could be worth 250 to 300 gold.
What did you do?
It's just an illusion. And she taps it again and then it goes back to the way it was. She taps your robes and like they get finer and look nicer and things like that. And then she taps your robes again and she goes, "It only works twice a day." She flicks it up.
How do you do this?
Make magic. And
course.
she kind of like, if I explain to you how I make these things, that's kind of trade secrets.
Do you know anyone who can read this book?
Yeah, let me see.
I hand the book to her, but kind of.
Like you're still like holding on to it
To
and you
it.
just like open it for her.
Yep, and I'm just kind of holding
And
it
she like
that.
grabs it and she tries to like pull it
And
away.
I like wrap my giant finger around it and go,
Read from here.
And she just kind of lets go and she like flips a couple of pages and she goes, Do you, does the same thing, like flips it back, starts flipping through. Ash, you got to stop bullying the auto mod, okay? You got to stop bullying the auto mod. I think we need to turn auto mod down if it's flagging the word shit.
Yeah, it's a little strict for ours.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be a little strict for our taste. So we'll have to fix that. So yeah.
And I don't disagree with you, Ash, but we'll have to talk about that off stream.
Yeah. So you hold this book, she kind of flips through it, and she flips down her thing a couple of times and flips back and then moves it around, and she goes, well, the magic is definitely from, I mean, probably the giants, maybe the Cyclopeans, but the language is primordial.
What?
It's the language of the primordials, the giants, the titans, the elementals. It's the elemental. It's the language of the earth.
How do I learn to read?
Or the language of Terra, I should say.
How do I learn to read this?
That's a really good question. I actually don't know anybody who can read that. I just have seen it before, and she like goes over to like what would be like kind of like a filing cabinet, but like has like these really short drawers, starts pulling them open, and finally finds what she's looking for. Yeah, okay, here you go. She walks over, and it's a map. Okay. Right? But it's this super old map, like you can barely tell what it says, but you can tell it's like the same language. And then underneath it is translated the elemental planes. And then you can see the map is like what looks to be a continent that's like divided into 4 pieces. But beyond that, it's it's hard to tell anything more than that.
Interesting.
And this map is like, you can tell it's like she's careful with it and stuff.
I kind of study the map and look up at her and go,
thank you. You have been helpful.
And kind of turn to leave.
And she just kind of smiles. She goes, well, if you want to purchase anything, we'll probably be back up and running tomorrow. And one of the other people goes, you don't blow the fucking place up again.
Gorthan kind of walks out into the town, kind of sighs, and looks for the nearest tavern.
Easy to find in this place. Definitely easy to find. So your inn would be... Screen capture. Go.
Buddies,
Who's meowing down here? Come here.
We're streaming, buddies.
Yeah, I know. And cats are like great for streams.
Oh yeah.
We'll see how long she'll sit here. Probably not. So when you look at the map of Selaznia, that building that is outlined right there is the one that you're in.
Yep.
And if you're looking for an inn, and you've kind of been walking around a little bit, you know your inns and stuff. You're probably staying at the one closest to the main keep, right? Because that's where Von Hildegard stays. That's his, like, the center of the town and all that, right?
Yep.
So there's a few inns in the area that you guys would probably be staying in. That's a small inn, so I doubt it would be that one. I think it was this one we decided.
Yeah.
The Meal and Coyote.
Probably.
But yeah, so this place is here. They have a bar if you're just looking for something to drink, but if you're looking for an actual tavern, then I believe
that's a brothel.
Yes. It's also an inn. But that would be one of the options. Or not an inn, a tavern. So that's one of the options. And then this place is kind of small, but that's also an option.
We can get into
the Labyrinth's hedgehog. So
yeah.
Gorthan's kind of wandering around, And he wanders back towards the keep and finds this little tavern. Let's see what kind of they sell ale and wine. So it's not a bad little place. Let's see.
Let's do everyone's favorite thing. Is there anyone gambling in here at all?
Make a luck check if that's what you're looking for specifically.
Yeah, let's gamble a little bit. We spent some money. Let's make some money. 12.
12. All right. Yes, there are people gambling. There is one table of people. So when you walk in, this place is probably 30 by 20, right?
Okay.
So it's not huge, but it's not little, right? Bar at one end, two bartenders back there, and then there's 3 tables and then 4 seats at the bar.
All right.
So when you walk in, one of the tables has 5 people at it, and they're sitting there playing dice.
Awesome. Gorthan walks in and kind of sits down at their table. Is like,
I would like to join.
he slaps 10 gold just on the table.
And you see that's roughly about what everybody else is rolling with. They're dressed kind of nicely and stuff like that. So you sit down, and they're more than willing to invite you into their game once they kind of like do a round and finish up that one.
Yep.
And then, so yeah, it's liar's dice.
Awesome.
So how good is Gorthan at deception?
Gorthan for deception is +0, so it's not terrible, but it's not great.
Kind of a luck check you're
Yep.
you're playing with here.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll see what the dice do. So it comes around to you, and the standard bet is just 1 gold.
Okay.
Right, so you throw 1 gold on the table, and if you win, you get the pot.
Awesome.
Everybody rolls first, and then they all see what they have, and then they go around the table, and it's kind of like poker.
Okay.
You bet and all that kind of stuff, and whoever has the best wins.
Sounds good to me.
So you can go ahead and make a deception check, because you don't necessarily have to have the best in liar's dice. You just have to convince people you have the
Nat
best.
20.
Well, so Gorthan sits down at this table and right off the bat just absolutely rolls everybody.
Fuck
Right?
yeah.
Make a luck check.
14.
So one of the people immediately is like, fuck this guy, and he gets up and starts walking away.
What? Too hot for you to handle?
Yeah, whatever, man. And he just goes to leave. He's kind of drunk, right? There's the rest of the people sitting at the table kind of eye you up and down, like, all right, maybe some competition, you know. You got a human male, a human female. You have a leshy. You know what a leshy is?
No.
It is a plant person.
Ooh.
So like this person in particular has like a pumpkin for a head.
I just kind of look at them kind of confused and not understanding what they are, but not wanting to ask questions.
Yeah. So they have like a pumpkin for a head and like almost like a moving jack-o'-lantern kind of face. Right? But like not like carved into it.
Interesting. Okay.
Right? Just like the pieces of it and stuff make it look like a face. And so like a part of it moves and it looks like a mouth, and as it does, it speaks.
Interesting.
And just kind of like eyes you up and down and nods at you once when it sees you eyeing it up and down. And then the last person is a tiefling.
Awesome.
Right? So this female has reddish purple skin and horns, like
Cool.
short black horns.
Mhm.
Her eyes are completely black.
Awesome. I kind of look at them and go,
Who's ready for round 2?
And I slap two gold on the table.
Ooh, they all slap 2 gold on the table. Make your deception check.
How much did I win in that first round?
It would have been 1 gold for each person at the table, so it would have been 5.
And for the record, I removed 10 as my first
Gotcha.
thing, so we can.
Gotcha.
So add 5. Cool. So now make another deception check.
Yep.
And a 3.
3, huh?
Uh-oh.
I should have pulled this up a minute ago, but I just need dice. Is there a way to just roll on? Yeah, my dice. Beautiful.
Gotta love D&D Beyond.
Yep. Just give me basic black. Can I actually roll them? Or no? Is that not how that works? That's not what that screen is for.
Of course not.
No, that's not what that screen is for. Okay, here, cool. Yeah. Please. Oh, no, just roll me a die.
Oh, yeah.
I need 4, because there's 4 other people at the table. Oh, there we go. Yes. What do we got? So we got
14, 1, 4, and 1.
Yeah, so most of the people kind of suck at this, it seems, and you're not a ton better, but at the same time, like, you kind of started out lucky,
Yeah.
right? The female tiefling, though, seems to be great at this, and she immediately fucking snatches up the 2 gold that everybody had laid down for this game once she wins.
Look over at her.
Lucky.
You can think whatever you want. She kind of smirks at you. You want to play again?
Of course.
And everybody slaps down their money.
18.
Go ahead and roll 4 more. See what everybody else gets. Anybody beat an 18?
Nope.
Nope. So after this game, most of the other people get up and leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Leshy guy kind of gets up. He's like, yeah, fuck this.
Oh.
And he kind of walks off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the female tiefling is like, "You're Gorthan, aren't you?
How do you know me?
I mean, you're pretty famous around here already. You're the only giant blue guy teleporting around,
I am the greatest wizard of all time, so I'm glad to get some recognition.
Well, I'm glad to be your greatest fan," she says. And she, like, scoots a little closer, and she opens up this coin purse, right? And inside of it is this talisman, right? And she says, "There's plenty of people around that, can help you. I heard you were looking for someone. You were at the temple earlier."
Yes.
And you kind of, like, search back in your recollection, and you don't really remember seeing her anywhere or anything like that, right?
Lovely.
And she says, so if you're looking for somebody to help you, I think I might know some people. You were just recently kidnapped by somebody that, if it were up to me, they would be hanging on a spike.
Then we have a common enemy.
And you see her lift up her cloak, right? The sleeves of her cloak, and you can see the telltale marks of the manacles that the wizards that you used to be employed by would use. So she was at one point used as an experiment and either escaped or something. And, like, you have never heard of anybody escaping or anybody leaving or living through
I just kind of look
the
at
experiments.
her. Look at her kind of wordlessly and go,
How did you get out?
The same way you did. I have magic.
Can you teach me?
I mean, you will learn. Your magic is different than theirs.
I kind of open the book and show her.
Can you teach me this?
That book is a connection. And she says, one day you will find that there are worlds beyond this. And sometimes you get connected to things that aren't from this world. And she takes that pendant out and she puts it like around her neck, right? And as she clasps it, you see like it's the face of a dragon, right? Like the head of a dragon, like kind of pendant. But it also has this sort of like, looks like a skull, right? More than like the head of a dragon.
Okay.
Right? But as she clasps it behind her neck, you see the eyes kind of like light up slightly, like flare, and then slowly go back down. And it's almost imperceptible, but she kind of like covers it from the candlelight from the nearby bar, or from the nearby candles, and you see that it's still like glowing. And she goes, "My master protects me."
Who's your master?
He reached out to me when I needed someone and gave me the power to save myself.
That's amazing.
He could do the same for you.
Where can I meet this man?
Well, I could probably procure a meeting if that's what you're interested in. Absolutely. What inn are you staying at? And you give her the name, and she goes, "Okay, I will tonight, around midnight. I'll come and find you, and we can go meet him."
Thank you.
Okay, and so I imagine at that point Gorthan is kind of a flurry of like, hey, this is like, holy shit, I might learn something. So he's kind of like anxious.
He's super excited to finally be what he's always wanted to be.
Right. So at that point, you kind of like start to think about it, and you're like, what?
Oh shit, chat's been blown up.
What exactly like can you do for, like, when you think about this, like what do you think about this woman? What does Gorthan think about all of this?
He's thankful. He's just like, I don't understand why she's so willing to help me, but I'm glad that she is.
And so we will be back. We're going to take a break really quick, and then probably come back, do a couple of dabs, and then we will finish up for the night. So
sounds good.
We will be back in a few.
you yet. I know.
Yo, we're back.
What's up?
What up? So, last when we left, Gorthan was like about to join a cult.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what it seems like. At
He's-
least that's what
Gorthan-
Amber says.
Gorthan's obsessed with magic. He wants to figure out the best way to get magic, and if he has to sell his soul, he might just have to sell his soul.
So, you go back to the inn, you're sitting there, and about midnight, there's no way Gorthan is sleeping tonight.
No way.
Right? So, about midnight, you hear a tap at your door. And when you open it, it's that female tiefling.
Mm.
And when you open the door, she just slips in really fast,
Excuse me.
and she says, "Okay, we're ready to go."
Let's go.
And she closes the door, and she walks into the middle of the room, and she pulls out this. It's about a foot and a half long, and it looks like a bone, right?
Gorthan kind of looks at it confused.
What is that?
It's my wand. I have to draw this circle so we can go.
Gorthan just kind of like takes a step back from her.
And she just kind of takes that as like you're giving her room, right? And so she takes this bone, she puts it down on the ground, and as soon as she touches it to the floor, you see that it's starting to like blacken the floor.
Please don't destroy this place. It's one of the few that allow me.
And as she does, she goes, no, go back to the way it was after we're done. And she draws this circle that, again, it looks like it's like almost rotting the wood away as she's drawing this circle. And as she finally makes the full circle, because she's like whispering under her breath and stuff as she's doing this, she makes this full circle and the floor like drops out, right? And you see that it's not like there should be ground underneath there, right? Because it's a one floor in. And she has created this massive hole in the floor. It's probably 4 feet wide.
Jeez.
Right? And it takes up most of the space from the wall to the bed.
Mm.
And she goes, "Okay, if you're ready."
I kind of look at her.
You want me to jump in there?
I mean, I'll go first if you want, but...
Gorthan just kind of sighs and jumps in.
And she waits for a second and follows you in. You feel like you're falling for a long time, right? And then all of a sudden your feet are just like on the ground. Like you have not fallen at all. And you find yourself in this chamber, right? And there's roots as you like look along the walls, a bunch of roots around, and you see what looks like, as you like kind of look down the wall, it starts to shimmer a little bit, and then the ground, when you get to the ground, it's just coins, just an insane amount of these rusty old coins
Okay.
that seem broken and beaten up and, just like from a bygone age.
Interesting.
And you see this, and as you look up, you see this sort of wispy figure start to coalesce, right?
Mhm.
And it's got this draconic appearance, but it also looks like it's not entirely there, right? Almost skeletal, but not. Go ahead and make a perception check, and we'll see what exactly you can see.
That would be a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay, so you can tell that this form is that of a dragon, but you can also tell that this form is that of something that is dead.
Interesting.
And when it finally coalesces completely, we can hold that. When it finally coalesces completely, you see that it's almost like hiding within the mountain of coins, right? All you can see is its head. And and this woman stands in front of you, and she smiles big, and the great worm. And she turns to you. It is your pleasure to meet the great worm.
I kind of stare up at it. Is it still sitting in the coins?
It's like kind of starting to like move a little bit, and the mountain of coins is starting to like slide.
I gotta look up at it.
Hello. Can you help me with this?
And I just kind of hold up the book.
And this face, this draconic skeletal face, starts moving out of the pile of coins, and you see that it has like a snake-like body, right? This long, slender, snake-like body. But then you also see that the coins kind of like continue to like fall into like open cavities in its body, right? And then they would like fall out in other places and things, and it finally coils around, and it's like this big, looks like a big snake, but like part of its body is like rotted away, and you can see like bones on this other part right here, and its face is mostly like rotted off.
Damn.
Right? But it seems to be some sort of dragon or something to that effect that has long been since dead. Long since been dead.
Damn.
And yeah, so you basically say hello to this thing, and she says to this woman says to you, bow to your new master.
I kind of give her a side eye and go down onto one knee looking up at it.
And it kind of moves forward, and you're like holding this book out, and as it moves towards you, you realize that like the force perspective of it, like it looked like this snake, and then as it comes forward, you realize that this thing is titanic in size, right?
Gorthan just kind of looks up at it and is regretting his decisions.
And this is kind of like it senses this and like kind of pulls back slightly, and she turns and she goes, the great worm says you hesitate. Do you not wish to give yourself over? It can only take you willingly.
What do you mean by give myself over?
Well, you would have to allow it part of you, and you would be allowed part of it, and then it would you would have some of its power.
Gorthan kind of looks between her and the worm, and at his book. He kind of shakes his head, understanding.
Okay. Yes.
And as you say yes, the worm's mouth opens and just like envelops you, right? And Gorthan finds himself floating in this like inky blackness, and it smells like death and decay and just horrible, disgusting things, right? But then it finally starts to coalesce into like that, you know, that smell of like fresh earth, where it's like it doesn't smell good, but like it smells good, you know? It's that weird kind of thing. It kind of morphs into that, and it becomes almost sweet, almost sickly sweet, until Gorthan starts to become like dizzy and starts to fade, right? And as Gorthan starts to fade, he starts to feel a piece of his soul pulled away and replaced by this scale, right? Like a dragon scale,
Okay.
right? So like you see yourself in kind of like when they say in the Matrix how like you see yourself the way you see yourself in your mind, right? It's like that, right? So like when you see yourself in this space and you look down, you see that you are wearing these beautiful robes and they're longer, they're flowing. You have this book in your hand and you have like a sash of like scrolls tucked away, things like that, right? And this thing coils itself around you and like takes a bite, right? And as it takes a bite off of you, it leaves behind a piece of itself, this dragon scale. But it immediately like turns black and starts like so in this mental space of yourself, this astral place, you have this black scale on your chest and it kind of like sinks around it a little bit, like your flesh starts to blacken slightly.
Interesting.
And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're lying on the floor of your room. And that woman is there, the tiefling is there, and she says, "It is my pleasure to introduce myself to you, fellow disciple of the worm. My name is Rose."
Hello, Rose. What does this mean?
It means that you are a disciple of the great worm. And you feel yourself changed. Right? And we'll get into this a little bit more next session. But Ashley, I need to know that you're paying attention for a second. Send me a message. Let me know that you're watching.
Better be watching, Ash.
Yeah, sound off in chat, Ash. Come on.
I'm gonna be mad at you if you're not.
Yep. You're gonna miss this.
You're gonna miss some epic shit.
Yep. You're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss it. I don't see Ashley sounding off in chat. Maybe she took some meds and went to sleep. She wasn't feeling good.
Yeah, well.
So you wake up and you feel yourself changed. Okay. Effectively, you've leveled up.
Hell yeah.
Right? But when you level up, you have to take the Warlock class.
Yep.
Now, we're going to find out if it actually takes or not.
Okay.
Because it depends on your stats.
All right.
So, if you're able to multi-class into Warlock, then it will take. Otherwise, it will take some preparation.
Let me see if it will let me multi-class.
I believe it's charisma. What's your charisma? Low. Yeah. This instance is probably one where, as GM, I'm probably just gonna say you don't have to meet the multi-classing requirements.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be at 13.
Yeah.
10.
Yep. All right. So I'm gonna modify that so you can do that.
Cool.
But yeah, and effectively, so what you're able to now do right off that when you wake up, you feel that Rose introduces herself, right? Well, then you realize that she was not speaking. Her mouth was not moving. And when you responded, your mouth was not moving.
Awakened mind.
So you, right off the bat, you know that you have the ability to touch the minds of other creatures. You can telepathically speak to any creature you can see within 30 feet. You don't need to share a language for it to understand you, but it has to be able to understand at least one language, right?
Mhm.
That does not mean two-way communication.
Yep.
So think of other ways that you can utilize that.
So Gorthan can just always be in Oki's head telling her everything.
Yep.
That's gonna be
Or you
great.
can just fuck with people.
Yep, that's gonna be fucking awesome. I can't wait to use that.
So yeah, Gorthan all of a sudden can feel telekinesis, right? You also feel that you have the ability to just legitimately straight up cast spells,
Hell yeah.
right? You'll gain all of the normal accoutrement for
Eldritch Blast.
Yep. Yeah, you'll wanna specialize in that. Say the line, Warlock. I use Eldritch
Eldritch
Blast.
Blast.
Yay!
Oh, that's gonna be really awesome.
That's the meme. But yeah, so we'll go through all of that off screen. But yeah, so now Gorthan has this connection to this ancient creature, this undead worm, this maybe it's undead. It's hard to tell, I guess.
Yeah. Are the most terrifying creature possible.
Yeah. But it is definitely some sort of what the subclass would be a great old one.
Yeah.
So if you choose to level up Warlock to the point where you get the subclass, then you would actually start to feel like a deeper connection with it.
Yeah.
But like right off the bat, when you come to the cover of your book is now like this black dragon skin leather.
Interesting. That's awesome.
Right? And the writing on it has slightly changed. Like it's not only primordial now. You can tell that more words have been written into it. And you can read them.
Awesome.
And it is draconic.
Awesome.
And you can now also understand and read the draconic language.
Hell yeah.
So hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh, alrighty.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty fucking wild.
That's
So yeah, with that I'll have to get back with Ash about it. But yeah, you guys effectively have leveled up now that you've gotten Von Hildegard to be kind of an ally in sorts. But yeah, so this is kind of a interesting character moment for Gorthan. We'll have to see kind of where it goes. But we will save that for next time.
Next week.
So thanks for being here. We really appreciate you guys like dealing with the technical issues at the beginning and all
Always
that
fun.
stuff, So yeah, it's super fun to deal with technical issues. So we again really appreciate you being here. And if you guys are able to drop a follow, drop all those likes, all that stuff on this video, we'd really appreciate it. It helps grow the channel. So thanks guys.
Thank you,
Have a
guys.
good night and thanks for being here.